So you've played and enjoyed Baldurs Gate 3, the dating simulator extraordinaire by Larian Studios, and you thought to yourself, what about the older Black Isle Studios and BioWare Baldurs Gate games? And I do stress, old. Maybe you've heard of the eclectic character gallery, some present in Larian's installments, or heard about the excellent world building and narrative, or heard about the Little Sister Incest mod. Well, you probably hadn't heard about that one, but now you have. You're welcome. In any case, the modding community is still going strong and weird, which does keep the game very much alive and fresh, but I can't begrudge you for not necessarily knowing whether or not to invest the time needed to replay this ancient gem. In which case, I am happy to be of service and provide the entirety of the story and lore for Baldurs Gate 1. Trust me, this is exactly how it all happened, and all you need to know about the original Baldurs Gate. Speaking of wizards, nestled atop the cliffs, a heavily min-maxed child, that's you, to the great wizard Gorion lives alongside your aforementioned, but thankfully, as of right now, unmodded best friend and later to be revealed half-sister Imoen. Outside your fortress home's walls, an iron crisis rages across the Sword Coast, with brittle iron making hoes even more unreliable than ever before, and giving everyone playing as melee characters conniptions unseen until Dark Souls 2's weapon durability system. The neighboring southern country of Arm is being blamed, and the risk of war is palpable. But fortunately, a merchant organization serendipitously called the Iron Throne have stepped up and begun supplying their own source of conveniently untainted iron. But your home, Candlekeep, is no longer safe, as evidenced by the presence of assassins who somehow expertly made their way through the almost impenetrable walls of Candlekeep, which otherwise requires the entrance fee of a tome of great worth, but also somehow forgot to bring another weapon except for a rusty dagger each. They are not sending their best. Gorion decides to leave with you in the middle of the night, a classic case of parental child abduction, and in an example of foreshadowing so thick that Pyrocynical is already commissioning tasteful artwork of it, instructs you to find Khalid and Jaheira if anything at all should happen to him. He subsequently dies and leaves you on your own lonesome to figure out why exactly you specifically are being sought out by assassins of varying degrees of competence. But not quite alone. Imoen joins your party as your first companion. There are a large number of companions in the game with a broad spectrum of usefulness. Baldurs Gate 1 doesn't feature a whole lot of NPC interactions, however, so choose based on classes, vibes, and avoiding Garrick. However, going by the intro of Baldurs Gate 2, there is in fact a semi-canon party setup. Khalid the Coward and Jaheira the Dummy Mommy will be your third and fourth companion, and our first official introduction to the Harbors, an organization known in all three Baldurs Gate games for meddling in everyone's business and being quite shit at achieving anything at all. An organization Gorion also represented in his younger days of not being a corpse. Nashkel, an Amnian town at the border with the Sword Coast, is your goal, and where you'll find your final two companions, Minsk and Dinaher, who you first have to rescue from some dastardly Anthrocon attendees, before you can subsequently equip her spellbook with nothing but sleep, horror, and later haste to sleepwalk through the game while you watch Minthara compilations on your second monitor. Deep in the Nashkel mines, currently equally infested with Yith enthusiasts, you find the first clues of the larger conspiracy that is the main narrative of Baldurs Gate. The Iron Crisis is manufactured, the iron ore poisoned, incompetently so, by a half-orc cleric of Cyric, Mulahay, at the command of someone called Tazok. Fortunately for you, Mulahay is half-orc, therefore blessed with an extra chromosome by his orcish parentage, forcing Tazok to spell out his plans in black and white in their correspondence, which gives us the exact location of his middleman, a man named Transik. Liquidate Transik forensic in his room. Find the bandit camp where Taesuk is leading the 2 mercenary companies. Find Taesuk's tent. Find his baby back ogre ass gone and free his personal gimp, Ender Sai, who reveals the Iron Throne as the true culprit. No shit. You travel to Cloakwood, where the Iron Throne have set up operations in the formerly flooded and abandoned mines, using a coerced workforce to stockpile untainted weapons and armor that they plan to later sell at massive markups to the Dukes of Baldurs Gate. This would monopolize arms dealing entirely under the Iron Throne, making them an incredibly powerful political entity, as is befitting the military-industrial complex in any universe and setting. Consulting a character literally named Stefan Recap about the Iron Throne's involvement, you finally get to travel to Baldurs Gate and enjoy the big city sights present even today in most major European urban areas, such as ghettos, overpriced tourist traps, and Romanians. The Iron Throne has successfully infiltrated multiple levels of governance and mercantile competitors with shape-shifting doppelgangers, your average finance interns, but you find the actual Iron Throne Baldurs Gate branch headquarters unfortunately empty of both management, incriminating material, and iron for that matter, with CEO and CFO both having traveled to Candlekeep to negotiate some sort of deal to avoid the full-scale war they have been pushing the region towards. In the first ever example of a defense contractor lobbying against dead children. With your travels now coming full circle, you return to your beloved home, once full of monks starting conversations in the most bizarre manners, but now equally filled with doppelgangers. Here, your true nature is revealed as a Bhaalspawn, the biological child to the dead god of murder, Baal, who struggle-snuggled his way through the mortal realm before his passing to pass on his excellent genes, for reasons largely unrevealed until the sequel. You also learn of Sarevok, your half-brother under Baal and foster son of Rialtar, the CEO of the Iron Throne. Unfortunately, the Iron Throne's entire peace and profit-loving leadership is assassinated in Candlekeep, and you are set up, which surely couldn't have been perpetrated by the generous fella you met by the name of Kovaras, proud graduate of the Alucard School of Inversion Naming. You escape and return to Baldurs Gate to find that Sarevok, finally revealed as the big guy from the intro cutting down Gorion, has not only assumed leadership of the Iron Throne, but also had one of the Grand Dukes assassinated. A vacant spot obviously fit for the newly crowned chairman of the Iron Throne, especially given that every nobleman with voting rights in the city turns out to either be a doppelganger or a Sigma male edit enjoyer.
Are you blind and stupid, woman?
Bummer for Sarevok, however, that he is a nerd that writes down every thought and feeling in his personal diary. Sarevok's true desire was not profit margins like the original Iron Throne management, but rather to launch the region into grand-scale war with the slaughter and death of thousands, resulting in him ascending as the new Lord of Murder, courtesy of your shared bloodline. Enraged by your breach of his personal boundaries, he flees into the Forgotten Undercity, where you consequently slay him, turning his ass into literal dust that reveals indeed just how many other Bhaalspawn are out there. But that's gotta be a problem for someone else, like Elminster. And then you lived happily ever after, ignoring of course the loathsome Siege of Dragonspear DLC, enjoying your time as the hero of Baldurs Gate. Oh. Alright, that was a video. YouTube somehow let me become a YouTube partner already and upload member-only videos, so I just uploaded one on the channel, as well as Patreon, which is up there completely for free for you to check out, where I rant about Jurassic World Dominion, which is an awful movie. I know it's ridiculous for a 500 sub channel with a total of a couple of thousand of views in total to upload that membership-only stuff, but hey, I'm building that back catalog like Ron Jeremy. Support links and free Patreon vid in the description, or click below to become a member. Like for the algorithm, subscribe for more cromulent videos, and throw down a comment. I'm shameless and read and respond to almost everything.